That autumn almost destroyed our brand. We were pretending to be bigger than we were. We ordered 150 kilos of yarn, but we had no money to pay for it. And I was still applying for jobs. This summer was not romantic at all. I was living in my childhood bedroom with my parents' home. I had no stable income. I was borrowing money just to survive. I was 23. My friends were already building their careers, big companies, and I was checking my bank app to see if some freelance payment has arrived. I was still applying for jobs. I wrote once again to Bureau 24/7 and I went to an interview at Elle. I was doing some freelance work for editorial teams. But deep down, I was hoping that I would manage to do both, to become a knit girl and to manage my business. In early August, it was August of 2015, we realized that we had no yarn. The fall was coming, but we were totally unprepared for our season. For the first time in our lives, we wrote to the factory which produced yarn in order to order this wholesale, and we asked for 5 kilos per color. They almost laughed because for the industrial production, 5 kilos is almost nothing. And I remember that at this very moment, I felt extremely small, like how small we were, and it felt humiliating and weird. And then, out of pure pride, I was like, okay, then we will take 50 kilos per color in 3 colors. We chose the most important colors for our product range, which were ivory, steel, and pink. So totally it was 150 kilos, and I felt it was too much for the brand with no office. So where are we going to store this? When the invoice arrived, I opened the PDF file quietly and just stared at it for minutes because it was almost $2,000 and we had nothing. I asked Alexei, like, how much money do we have? Like, can you give something? And he was like, okay, I can give like 200. So it was not even close. But somehow we managed to pay the half and they started the production. Now I feel that it was the first time when we thought bigger than our bank account. It was something very risky, like the core of entrepreneurship, when you don't have money but you believe in your product and you act. I knew that 3 colors were not enough because we wanted to look like a serious brand with the white palette, and we knew in order to have these orders, like more orders, we should suggest like a choice for our clients, like to choose from a range of colors. So I thought that, okay, if I cannot order wholesale because like of the small quantities, I will go to retail. And I started running across the city, trying to collect the right amount of yarn just to make one sample per color, at least that. And I remember buying 3 yarn balls here, 4 yarn balls there. I was running like crazy. So my husband at that time, he was holding to his job because we thought it would be right that if at least one of us would have a stable income. So he was in his office, he was doing scientific research, and I remember texting him like, yes, I found this cornflower. Or look at this lime tree. We should have it. It will be popular. I bet you. Like he was sitting in the office and viewing the brand growth like from the perspective of my pictures and videos, and I felt like a collector because there was nothing, like there was no plan, production plan or color plan, but there was like my feeling of power that I am able to find anything that I need, that we are capable of anything. So that idea was driving me and gave me like all the energy to do this. Then once Alexi told me that, you know what, we should cut production costs, because when we produce a sweater now, it gets like really costly. So what do you think if we move our production from Moscow to a small town? And I was like, what small town? Because I don't have anyone in any small town here, like across Russia. How will we get the products? How will we collect all the team, etc.? But he was like, you know what, the standard of living in Moscow is pretty high, and there are like a lot of distances. So people live far away from each other. They will not be able together, like to get together and to create this community. So we will not actually have a team, we will have separate workers knitting like here and there, and we will just be going like across the town, the city, trying to collect all that they have knitted. So he suggested that we should go to Balakova. It was a small town where his parents lived, and he said that imagine if our women, they live together, and like not together, but they live close to each other, and when they get together they have this like energy, and they have this community, and they have this like talks, and they can discuss the deadlines, and it will work in a very different way. So he suggested that we should go there. By that time, his mother, she already found one girl. She was a hairdresser in Balakova. She knew how to knit, and a curious thing that she actually works with us, like now she continues to work with us. She became a production director, but back then she was just a hairdresser who knew how to knit. So I remember we started packing our suitcases and bags. In total, I collected 114 yarn balls across the city of different colors. And obviously, they didn't fit into my medium-sized suitcase. So I was staring at all this mess in my home and thinking, like, this is insane. What are we even doing? Where are we going? Like, I haven't been there. And I don't know. What if they don't take us right? What if they don't take us seriously? What if we are just embarrassing ourselves? And finally, and I was like, okay, so I was messing around and I was dissolving some old samples in order to collect more yarns. And there were like two Katyas fighting inside of me. Like one was saying that, no, you're going to do it well. Like just bring the yarns and you'll see, like trust the destiny. And the other was like, no, like what are you doing? Are you sure? She was like so hesitating, but I knew that there was no way back. So my mom suggested that we should pack all these yarns into huge plastic bags. They were unreasonably heavy. I remember lifting one and almost falling on it, but we knew that we should try, like at least try. And I sat between my katas inside. I was like, okay, then just try, just go and do this. And if you don't get it, okay, you will try it a different way. In Balakova, we met all the women that were interested in the job, and we met them in this borrowed office space, which looked a little like a concert hall with tables and chairs brought in. And I was sitting there looking at these women. There were like a lot of women, like 10 or 15. And I was like, oh my God, like they were discussing stitches and measurements and deadlines. And I was like, oh my God, this is actually something. Some women left immediately because they didn't manage to do the pattern, but the core group, they stayed and continued to work. We were really excited, and by the end of our stay, we actually had something like a structure. So we made a sweater team and a cardigan team, and the work was like kind of divided between them. I remember we, with this main girl, with Anna, we talked that, okay, then you will be like sending us more products when you finish them, send them to Moscow. And we didn't know how at the time and how much they will send, but we were already expecting to receive them. When we came to Moscow, there was already no illusion because we already had the yarns and we had a small team in a small town. So that was actually something. And as I worked as a fashion editor, I knew that in order to break through, we need more media support. And media support goes through image. So I insisted that we should invest everything into one fashion shoot. And as we didn't have any money, we borrowed it from Alexei's mom. And she was like, oh, okay, but how do you think, like, are you going to return it back? We didn't know that. But the only thing that we knew was that if the shoot failed, we would have no safety net, no savings, no second chance, no nothing. So we just went into this risk. We just took the risk. And actually this shoot, it made us grow fast, and it changed everything. So thank you for watching. Kate, be kind, and remember to be kind to yourselves. Bye bye.